Another big month with a lot of shifts. First and foremost, it's a little bit mixed, but we start out with some grace, a lot of light that is going to help you to really be clear about what's meaningful to you. And you're going to need that for where we're going. We've also got a lot of heat going on. We have a lot of fire and a lot of the honorable warrior energy. Mars is retrograding. It is in a place that's really asking us to untie some of the knots that are holding us back and calling you to a deeper spiritual discipline. We've got a Mercury retrograde this month asking us to really look at our relationships and how we communicate and be really clear about that. We have the energy of taking a step back and allowing others to shine and being connected with our own humility. We've got some focus coming in that we have really needed in order to have the kind of forward momentum you need for what you're committed to. And I'm really hoping you haven't lost sight of what you're committed to. And if you don't know what that is yet this year, then there's still time for you to get connected into that. Totally imperative that you do. Hi, I'm Prema Gurreri. I'm Vedic Astrologer, Consciousness Coach, and I am thrilled to be with you. Thank you for joining me on Chart Your Path. Hit the like button, subscribe. You have things that you're listening to here that resonate, subscribe so you don't miss anything. Too much is going on right now. Please share this with anybody that it would also serve. So yes, we definitely have some grace, and grace comes with light, and Jupiter is the greatest planet of light aside from the sun. So this allows us to be able to see our choices more clearly. And this is the first time with Jupiter being in its own house in Vedic astrology, sidereal zodiac of Sagittarius, that it's been there without either Saturn or the south node of the moon, the mystic in the Sacred Wealth Code Archetype system, and K2. And so it's in its own house. It hasn't been here in 12 years, and finally it's alone. Finally it gets to really shine its benevolence, and wherever this is personally hitting you, you're going to really feel this this grace, this ability to connect into deeper meaning in your life, and you're going to need it for where the energy is going next later in November. This will actually. Jupiter is going to team up with Saturn in Capricorn, which only happens every 60 years. I'm going to talk about that next month. I'll do another video on that. It's a big energy for all of us. And so you're going to really need to have what gives you meaning. So if you don't know what that is, I really encourage you to understand what your purpose is, to connect in with the deeper meaning that life has for you, and so that you've got that undercurrent to drive you forward even when things get challenging, or the energy as it goes for the next year with Jupiter is going to ask you to take that bigger vision and what's meaningful to you and bring it down to earth and get practical with it. And you're going to have to remember that big why, that purpose of it. So connect in with what has deeper meaning for you. It's going to help all of us in these times that we're living in. Remember, you're helping to steer the collective consciousness. You know, you are what you are doing in your life, what you're thinking, what you're believing, the choices that you're making, and your deeper meaning, your purpose is like that keel and that rudder that allows us to navigate and steer collectively where we're all going in this paradigm shift. So what matters most to you matters for all of us in a really big way. So last month I talked about the nodes of the moon were shifting, the eclipse pattern, which only shifts every year and a half. These are the places in your soul blueprint. These are the places in life and collectively for us that get agitated and get churned. And there's a reason for that, even though it's a little bit annoying at times and it takes a lot of work, is that we don't typically grow without some sort of agitation. Think about it. You go through a challenge, something happens, whether you're moving home, whether it's a new job, a new career, you're starting your own business, whether you lose a loved one. These are all things that, challenge us in life. And we've all had some big challenges and some big calls to grow. Now, we've had a lot of distraction with where this energy has been playing out. We've had a lot of information, a lot of misinformation, a lot of fanatical energy, and some deep spirituality going on. Where the axis of change is now in Vedic Astrology, is in the north node of the moon. Rahu is in Taurus now, and there's a call for stability. We want harmony. We want to have that stability and know what our values are and have them honored. We don't want to give up our freedom, but this is where things slow down. It's a fixed sign, and we stabilize things. We're going to have to be careful to not buy into any false sense of security, because there's a deep desire for security. We all want it. So I'll be talking about this over the next year and a half, and how that plays out over time. But right now, there's that desire in you for security and stability. And personally, depending on where it's in your chart, it's hitting you in a certain area. I want you to notice that and start to get clear about what would actually allow me to feel secure in this area of my life, or just globally, what will help me to feel secure. And money might come into that, but I want to also say, besides just money, what really would give you that security? It's going to be connected to your values. Okay, so do that work around that and start to get clear around that. It's very important. You're going to be able to get some more focused energy compared to a lot of the distraction that's been going on. Because of where Ketu, the south node of the moon, also the mystic and the Sacred Wealth Code system. If you are interested in a Sacred Wealth Code reading, the link is below, or a Vedic Astrology reading, the link is below. Or if you want to know what one of your Sacred Wealth Code archetypes is, you can take my Sacred Wealth Code archetype quiz. Again, all those links you will find below, here to support you in using your gifts, into understanding yourself, and to making the difference here that you've come to make. So this aspect with the south node of the moon, the mystic, being in Scorpio, is, we're going to have pressure on our triggers, on our belief systems, and they're going to, we're going to have the ability to penetrate deeply and go into them, and not just to get stuck in them, which is the shadow side here, but to be able to really connect with the deeper wisdom and get to what we're devoted to. So we are willing to release those triggers, release those beliefs. Ketu has the ability, the mystic, to penetrate deeply, and so to get to the root of things. So we'll be getting into those, whatever's triggering you. Remember, that is where you are being called to heal. That's where you're being called to heal. Again, this will really get activated with the eclipse patterns, and that's when I'll talk about it even more deeply, which will start at the end of November. We're going into eclipse season. Okay, so we also have this big energy of Mars. Now, it has been hot in the northern hemisphere. Mars is really close to the Earth, and things are burning up, literally. We have fires. My heart goes out to those of you. I've just had to deal with smoke, but this is huge. In between the hurricanes and the fires, Mars has affected our weather greatly. But there's also what's sort of burning up inside of you. There's that fight, that warrior that wants to come out in some way. Needs to be, Mars is the honorable warrior, and we want to keep that in check. And Mars is really in this aspect. Is really polarizing, one side or the other, black or white, right or wrong. We need to come to the center of things. You need to know what's important for you and be able to hold a bigger vision, which Jupiter gives us, to see all aspects of things. Watch out for the polarization. Watch out for it. And instead, you want to hook into what's true for you. What's true? That's what's really important here. And the Honorable Warrior is in a really tricky spot that's Mars. It's in retrograde right now. It'll retrograde until the 13th of November, and then it'll turn direct. It is transiting from Aries to Pisces in the retrograde right now. On the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, even 6th of October, it's in a place called Gandanta. It is a place that is in between a water and a fire sign. This is a place where it's a loosening of the knot of tension. And there's a knot inside of you that is loosening. And it's a wonderful spiritual time if you're willing to pull back, dive in, and really allow yourself to notice what is trying to be untied within you. What beliefs are wanting to loosen so that you can be free of that knot that has bound you. We're all collectively going through that again in this paradigm shift. There's a lot of knots to untie. This is not a time to try to push something forward, and it's not a time to have, it's a time that can be very volatile, so not a great time for going into a deep conversation with someone. And please don't attack at this time. And I mean self-attack as well. You know, put the inner critic on vacation and allow yourself more time on the meditation cushion, the yoga mat, deep walks in nature, deep conversation with somebody who is coming from a spiritual aspect and really can hear you and get you, or some counseling. Something wants to be let go of during this time. Allow it to go. It's an unsettled time. Don't look for it to be settled over these few days. But then it'll move, the honorable warrior, the strategist, the engineer, this Mars energy is going to move into a place of, like at the ashram, it's about spiritual discipline, not dissociating from things, not getting caught in checking out, but discipline. That's disciple to the one. You're the one. You're part of the one. Really getting disciplined so that when you come back into, Mars moves forward into Aries, which actually won't be until the 23rd of December, that you're really ready to step out and rebirth. Be careful to stay away from the fight. Stand for what you stand for, and do it from your spiritual principles, from the truth, and from a place of that inner courage. Stand more strongly for what you're for than what you're against. We so need that right now. Mercury is going to retrograde on the 14th of October till the 3rd of November. It is going to retrograde in the constellation of Libra in Vedic Astrology. It's taking a closer look at relationships and communication with relationships. This is a place where we want to be social. We want to compromise. We want to consider the other. Slow down with your communication. Just slow it all down. A communicator is a really good listener. Be a really good listener. And how can you also make space for the other? Not just trying to get your views across, but listening also, so that we can find the places we can come together. Retrograde planets are strong in Vedic astrology. They're close to the Earth. And in that strength, we, especially when Mercury slows down, we get an opportunity to see what it's really taking a stand for. Now, in that as well, be careful of the 13th, 14th, and 15th of October, and the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of November. Those are the times it can get really, really wonky. Of course, Mercury retrogrades. Mercury represents travel and communication and technology, and it's business as well. So don't do important things on those days. Okay, the rest of the retrograde is okay, but don't do important things on those days. But also back up your technology and slow down with your communication. Make sure you're really communicating from the heart, considering the other during that retrograde time. Libra is also going to welcome the sun on the 16th. So the sun is still in Virgo, really taking a look at the details of things. Our last new moon was there. Our next new moon will be actually in Virgo again. We're really kind of steeped in the details of things. If you want to know more about that, look at my video. Link is below. But the video of the last new moon, I'll do another one for the next new moon, but I really talk about how we're really, the details of things is what we're really enmeshed in, really important energy. So that's going to continue. The sun is there taking a look at that, but the sun's going to come into a place in Libra where it's not its strongest position. It's actually called debilitated. I believe all energy is good for something, so let's find out what it's good for. Then we can use it in that way. So this is where the leader takes a step back. This is where the king steps back and listens to the people. Again, this energy of being a really good listener, being able to have humility and be humble. You could feel on the shadow side like, you've lost your confidence in some way. And not, or maybe you're, just not clear or direction wise. No. It's a time for you to step back as far as the sun and the brilliance of the sun, especially if the leader is a strong archetype for you, or the king or the celebrity, and you want to allow others to shine. Listen. Allow others to stand in the light. Will you take a little bit step back? We all need to do that. In order for us to move things forward as a whole, we have to see how our mission fits with everybody else so we can move together collectively. Sit back and take more of a listening time. And if your confidence feels threatened, it's not. It's not about you haven't lost your confidence. It's just not time for you to charge ahead if that's happening for you. And that'll only be for 1 month, from the 16th of October to the 16th of November. That'll shift out as the sun then will move into Scorpio. Saturn's gone direct as of the 29th. I know there's a lot of shifts, but it's important. It's important for you to know the essence of the energy. If you want a deeper knowing how this fits in for you, then you'd want to book an individual reading, or come in and work with me in one of our programs like the Sacred Wealth Business Academy, where we help you to take your gifts and move them out into the world, to be able to be seen for your gifts, but to make the difference that you're here to make and have the kind of wealth that is most meaningful to you. And that link is below as well. Saturn moving forward, it's still kind of at a standstill. Saturn moves really slow, but it is going to allow you to start to move forward with what you're committed to. At the beginning of the year, I asked you to become very clear about what you're committed to. So if you haven't figured that out, it is high time to do that. What are you committed to? What are you committed to doing, going the long haul with, to doing the hard work for, to putting the focus into? What are you that committed to? It's connected to your purpose. I guarantee you that. Reconnect with what you're committed to. And it's time to be able to you'll start to feel like you can get the focus and start to move that forward. And that's going to feel good. Again, it's not going to be at lightning pace. It's Saturn. Saturn is in it for the long haul and goes slow. Venus will also move into Virgo on the 23rd of the month. Right now, Venus is in Leo, and it's really great for creativity there. It's an okay placement for Venus. The energy of when it moves into Virgo is a little more challenging for Venus. It's actually debilitated there, but what it's strong for, it's not strong for feeling warm and fuzzy and connected in relationship, but it's really good for creativity. It's really good for focusing on the details of relationship and getting realistic in what's important to you around relationship. It's not a good time to you could be challenged with getting fussy around relationships. This is the 23rd of October through the 17th of November, and you could get too picky about relationships and focus on what's wrong. Really, that doesn't ever do anything good. Think about it. When is the last time it ever did well for you to point out what's wrong in relationship? Instead, you want to get realistic and have that information inform you on where you want relationship to go, where you want it to grow. But use this time also to get into the details around your creativity. This is the artist, the energy of the artist Venus has as well as the muse and bringing your inspirations to earth and crafting the details around that. Great energy for that. We just don't want to get lost in the details, because then we get into slicing hairs eventually, and there's just no magic in that, and it leaves us feeling really dry and brings our inner critic to the forefront. I tend to like to, when you notice your inner critic, send it on a vacation. Give yourself a break from the inner critic and allow yourself to create some form and bring some details down to earth, and then start to take action on them. All right, I know this is a lot. There's a lot going on. Go back and rewatch the parts you need to. Leave me a comment below and let me know, what you're committed to this year. What's giving you deeper meaning, because you're going to need that for where we're going next. And where are security? I talked a lot about, security, and that we're wanting that deeper sense of that. What does security actually mean to you? Love to hear about that from you. Really appreciate you liking, subscribing. You're not going to get this information anywhere else, so don't miss it. Go ahead and subscribe and share this. Share this with somebody else who could make a difference for as well. So much love to you.